Do you know that the seed of the Word of God is resilient? Why do we keep it dormant or try to keep it constrained or restrained within the boundaries of our own churches, of our own countries, or even our own cultures? Today we'll talk about how the Word of God, the Scriptures, have remained resilient through history, and how us, the sowers of the seed, have a key responsibility in spreading and sowing the precious seed to the ends of the earth. This is how we obey the Great Commission. So I invite you to stay with me for a while, and let's talk about the seed, the resilience of the seed.
Welcome to the Assisting to Obey podcast by Gloria Sloan-Castellanos, missions coach, strategist, author, and the director of a missionary organization in Central America. It is designed to provide encouragement, ideas, resources, and opportunities for Christians to obey the Great Commission and bless the nations from their own corner of the world.
My name is Gloria Sloan-Castellanos. For close to 4 decades, I have dedicated my life to cross-cultural missions as a strategist, as a church planter, as a trainer, a coach, a mobilizer, and now I lead a missionary organization in Central America that coaches and teaches and guides and assists the churches, the pastors, and their leadership to become involved in missions in a biblical, responsible, and strategic way. And yes, now I have become a blogger, a YouTuber, a podcaster, a content creator, all so that I can encourage you to come along with me, and I'll be able to assist you to obey the Great Commission. All right, so let's get going with this very important topic of today's episode. Now, this podcast is based on my blog post published on March 19th, 2025 on my Assisting to Obey website. I invite you to follow the conversation there or here in whatever platform you are listening or watching this publication. And subscribe so that you can receive every new blog post and other useful resources and information delivered straight to your inbox. All right, so let's talk about how the seed is resilient and how our participation as sowers is key for the harvest. And let me start with a story. A few years ago, December 2015 to be exact, I had the opportunity to visit Egypt. Of course, this was a very special, not only tourist experience. This was a wonderful time, a wonderful learning opportunity for me. But one of the most fascinating moments of that trip was during a tour of the pyramids. Our guide showed us grains of wheat that had been buried for over 1,000 years. What amazed me the most was that some of those ancient grains, when planted, actually sprouted, actually germinated. Think about that. Seeds dormant for centuries still held within them the potential of life, the potential of fruit. This experience came rushing back to me during a recent conversation with a group of pastors in a country in Central America where I was meeting with them. One of them made a sobering, serious, and a bit negative observation. He said, the seed of the gospel here in this country is rotting because it's not being shared. We're not sending missionaries, and we're keeping the message to ourselves. Now, his words struck a chord within me, but, as I reflected on them, I realized an even deeper message. The problem isn't the seed. The problem is actually the sower. Now, let me explain. And that's what this podcast and blog post is all about. I kept thinking about this same topic over and over again, and I believe it is important that we talk about it. Now, number one, the seed, the Word of God, will not rot. The seed is resilient, just like those ancient grains of wheat. The Word of God is eternal, sufficient, resilient. It doesn't lose its power over time or in difficult circumstances. Hebrews 4:12 reminds us that the Word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. It really doesn't depend on us to make it effective. It's already powerful on its own. But here is the catch. Here is the variable. The sower is the key. The issue lies with us, the sowers. Are we faithfully planting the seed? Are we sharing the gospel with those who haven't heard? Or are we, like the pastor observed, keeping it to ourselves, letting it rot in our churches, in our communities, or within our cultures and within our countries? Jesus' parable of the sower in Matthew 13 highlights the importance of the soil, of course, but it also underscores the responsibility of the sower to scatter the seed widely. If we're not sowing, the seed cannot take root. Now, I'd like for us to look throughout history how resilient the Word of God, the Scriptures, the Bible has been. To give us a little more thought on this resilience, here are a few historical facts that demonstrate how the Bible, its content, and its teachings have remained strong throughout history. Number one, the Bible's unmatched survival. Despite centuries of persecution, bans, and attempts to destroy it, the Bible remains the most widely distributed and best-selling book of all time. Dictators and regimes have tried to suppress it, yet it continues to thrive and be translated into more languages than any other book. Number two, manuscript evidence. The Bible has more manuscript evidence than any other ancient document. There are over 25,000 ancient manuscripts of the New Testament alone, far surpassing works like Homer's Iliad, that's 1,800 copies, or Plato's writings, 250 copies. This consistency proves that the biblical text has been faithfully preserved over time. Number three, influence of civilization. Biblical principles have shaped laws, human rights, and ethics in Western civilization and beyond. The abolition of slavery, the foundation of hospitals, human dignity, and even modern scientific thought were heavily influenced by biblical teaching. Number four, endurance through persecution. From the Roman Empire to communist regimes, Christians have been persecuted for their faith. Yet Christianity and the Bible have only grown stronger. The Bible has spread underground in places like China, North Korea, and the Middle East, where it was banned, but continues to change lives. Number five, archaeological confirmation. Time and time again, archaeological discoveries have confirmed the historical accuracy of biblical events, cities, and figures. Let's look at some examples. The Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947, proved the consistency of Old Testament texts over 1,000 years. The discovery of the Pool of Bethesda, John 5:2, and other biblical sites confirms the Bible's reliability. Number six, global impact. The Bible has been translated into over 3,500 languages, making it the most accessible book in history. No other ancient text has had such a global reach and influence. Number 7, prophetic accuracy. The Bible contains hundreds of fulfilled prophecies, including detailed predictions about Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection. Secular historians confirm events that align with biblical prophecy, providing its divine inspiration. And finally, number 8, continued growth of Christianity. Despite opposition, the Christian faith continues to grow worldwide. The underground church, the persecuted church, or the invisible church, as they call themselves in Egypt, is expanding rapidly in places like China and Iran, showing that the power of the Bible and its teachings cannot be suppressed. Through history, cultures rise and fall, governments change, and ideologies shift. But the Bible remains steadfast. As Jesus said in Matthew 24:35, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. All right, so what does this all means for us as believers? Here are 3 practical steps to consider. 1, for those who want to participate but don't know how, start small. Pray for missionaries, support them financially, or even take a short-term mission trip. Ask your church about opportunities to get involved. Remember, missions isn't just for the super spiritual, it's for every believer. For those who don't think missions is for them, consider this. The Great Commission in Matthew 28:19-20 isn't a suggestion, it's a command. It's a command for every believer. You don't have to move overseas to be a missionary. You can start in your own neighborhood, sharing the gospel, being a good witness in your workplace, your community, your school. Share the gospel wherever you are. And also for those who are already participating, but maybe doing it wrong or not being sure that they're doing it right. Let's put it that way. Examine your motives. Are you sharing the gospel out of love for Christ and others, or are you just doing it out of obligation or maybe even pride? Missions isn't about us. It's about glorifying God, making His glory known, and making His name known among the nations. But also remember, there are many opportunities, many organizations that help with training, with other opportunities for you to grow in your desire, grow in your skills to become a better servant, a better cross-cultural worker, or even a local worker and evangelist, and doing it in a more efficient way. But keep your motives clean before the Lord, and your commitment and understanding, desiring to share the love of God and spread His good news to everyone. So here's a final thought. The seed of the gospel is resilient. It doesn't need us to make it more powerful, but it does need us to plant it. That is God's design. Let's not be the ones who hold it back. Instead, let's be faithful sowers, scattering the good news far and wide, and especially those places where the seed is scarce, where the word of God is not known. As I think back to those ancient grains of wheat, I'm reminded of the incredible potential of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's not up to us to make it grow. That's God's work. But it is up to us to plant it, to be obedient, and go and do it. So let's get to work. Let's get to sowing. The harvest is waiting. Matthew 9:37-38 says, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." So I pray that the content of the podcast, the episode of today, has caused you to edge a little bit closer to an exciting life of obedience to God's most important command, the Great Commission. I invite you to follow me on this platform. Leave a review, a comment, a like, and of course, share it with others, so many more Christians can discover the joy of aligning with God in His mission to bless the nations. So again, if you would like to know more about my ministry, about what I do in Central America and how I'm doing it, or would like to join my team of supporters, send me a message or visit the Assisting to Obey website, a platform that I created to link with you, to connect with you, and those who are supporting the ministry of Assiste, of Asociación Assiste, the organization that I lead in Central America, with you, our English-speaking donors. And you'll find all the links in the description below. Let's keep in touch. Let's follow the conversation. This is Gloria Sloan-Castellanos, assisting you to obey.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. Let's continue the conversation on our social media, website, or YouTube channel. You'll find all the links in the description below. This was the Assisting to Obey podcast by Gloria Sloan-Castellanos. See you soon.